Africa has been doing conservation for all this time, but what is going wrong?
I've attended so many workshops, and I've been telling fellow participants that I think this is the first workshop that, to me, has been so well organized.
The training has been exciting, fruitful, and it has been an eye-opener to me in terms of wildlife and how we can cover wildlife issues.
For 25 years, I've been a frontline reporter covering mostly breaking news, which is all about disasters, blood, accidents, wars and everything. But this time I came to learn about wildlife. We've never thought there is a story behind wildlife, because we used to think that when there's a wildlife story, it's about poachers, it's about tusks of elephants being seized at one of the biggest airports, either in China or in Vietnam.
I didn't have much interest into wildlife reporting, but this whole workshop has changed my mindset.
We can be assisted as Africans to do conservation and development, but it's ultimately our job. It's ultimately the job of you journalists, the job of ecologists like me, the job of private sector.
Moved me the most was from Philip Muruti. His work on how Africa is losing so many animals and species due to extinction. He said that we need more conservation efforts, So then after that, I went to a quick Google search and I Googled Zimbabwe, and I found that we have over about 70 animals that are about to be extinct.
It was basically divided into two, where the wildlife people, the people that actually deal with the wildlife, had to tell us what wildlife is all about. And also you brought people who I can describe as storytellers, where they told us how we should write stories.
Show your editor, tell them, according to the investigations that I've done, it is expected.
Like, for example, the issue of pitching, this is one of the problems that most journalists face.
These days, stories are being shared on digital platforms, and learning the tools on how to package your stories in a way that stimulates engagement, because we need conversations around the issues to do with conservation. So the last 4 days have been really eye-opening and kind of stimulating, challenging as well.
For you to be successful with media, you have to have a relationship. And to have a relationship, you have to meet the journalists, talk to them, understand what they need, and be able to have sort of a mutual objective that can work for both of you.
I've been asked questions during these 3 trainings that really indicate to me that there is a need. The journalists are hungry for information. They are willing to transmit information, to share stories about conservation and development. But they do need more information. They need to give evidence-based stories. And that is why I think this is also important. If it is well informed, then we shall debunk some of the myths about conservation and development.
I think one thing that has touched me is the interest that journalists have in wildlife, and especially wildlife crimes, because that is what I specifically talk to them about. Most of the time we feel they're not telling our story, that they're not interested, but it's actually because they have not heard about it, we have not reached out. So I think these forums are very important, and they have taught me that we actually need to stretch our hand across the aisle and reach out to journalists, tell them the story, because they're really interested in talking about the issue.
People have to be part of the solution as well.
The duty of conserving wildlife and environment in general lies with us, first of all as Africans and also as journalists. As journalists, because we've got the power to amplify, different voices around wildlife conservation.
I think my biggest takeaway from this workshop is that we need to have more collaborations as journalists, because we have a lot of stories to tell that also connect with stories from other countries.
And remember, I cannot only promote Zimbabwe or tell Zimbabwean stories. I need to tell continental African stories. So collaborations are really, really important. We want to preserve and continue to market our continent, not about competition, but all about collaboration.
The editors, they need this kind of training. Actually, it's for them. Because these are the people who are killing these development stories. Editors, they are more focused on profits and other things. So when you invite them, you give them the training, definitely they will take something home.
It has been a fantastic opportunity meeting 31 journalists from the Southern African countries. And as AWF, I think it has been really a privilege and an honor to host not only the local journalists, but the journalists from the region. And I think there was an awareness raising among the journalists. And I think from now on, we are going to see a lot of stories on conservation. I think it's been a great opportunity, and it has all been crowned with this field trip here at Imire Game Park, very close to Harare, where it's absolutely fantastic and the journalists are enjoying it.